The views expressed in the following show are of the host, the guest, and the callers. The content of the following show, its accuracy, authenticity, and the ramifications of the use or application of said content is the responsibility of those speaking and listening, not the broadcast medium.
All right, we're back and we're live. Feet to the fire. I am your host, James Alfianchek, the Black Knight of Talk Radio. Didn't really need to do a video, but it seems like it's more used. And plus, I'll do some stuff on a webpage when I'm doing this today. But I want to bring up first that the shows for last week are up and available. Oops, wrong key thing. There we go. Less Visible spent time. Some people have mentioned that his bandwidth would freeze every so often, and they found it extremely aggravating. I didn't like it myself, but that's what we get when you get less. Sometimes this is the deal, and it's better to have that than nothing. Nonetheless, the video has been posted on YouTube. Well, it's on the webpage, feettothefireradio.com. You can get everything there. And the video with Richard Allen Miller. I had some Miller time. And so that's posted as well. So I wanted to mention those items. I had mentioned previous, if you want to go to Feet to the Fire Radio, you click on the original website. And there is every show that survived anyway. I guess we missed a couple in the beginning, but every show that's been there since 2003. So I've been doing this for 17 years, 16 years and a half or so. So the way to get this is go down to that page. You can click on whatever year you want. You click down on the show you would like. And then remember the date, because this normally would download it, but I don't have that set up because I had to switch servers. It got too expensive to do what I was doing. So I had to put them on Google Drive. So what you do is you simply go back to the earlier page, and at this link, I don't want to click on it because it's my drive and I log in and everything. But at this link, you'll have access to all the shows. Just remember the date, and then you can go through the file folders. I want to mention these things every so often so that people can get them. It's all free. So, and if you want to hear, you're interested how the show and myself evolved over the years, well, there you go. Also included in this is Less Visible and all the stuff he's done, but that's on his own page. If you go to Less Visible, well, where did it go now? Oh, I got my screen shrunk to fit on here. There we go. About Less Visible. Oh, it must be up on top. Again, I didn't do it. Now what? Maybe the way I have this set up. There it is. About Less Visible. It'll tell you about Less Visible. For those who have recently joined the show, he used to do a column every week for years, 2008 onward. So you hit that Here button, and you can find everything he's ever done audio-wise. There are a couple of shows up here. I didn't put the newest one. So there's a couple of video interviews as well up there. So I'll have to update that with the newest one. But you go back to the website main page, and I didn't do it here. I must be hitting it too. I'm hitting it too frivolously, I guess. It goes back to, it's trying to load it. All right, so that's that. Couple of things I want to go through. We are talking about the big news on, why isn't this? There we go. Big news is the Epstein stuff. That's all around. I'm going to fast forward down to, I don't know if I posted it on here. Yeah, there's Epstein. Actually, let me get to that in a minute. I'm seeing a couple things here I'd rather talk about first. Tommy Robinson was clearly put in jail against all past practices of the laws, way above what he did. It was illegal railroading that they did in England to nail him into prison. Now, I don't know if they're going to kill him in prison, if it's a message to the citizen journalist, but he covered the sentencing hearing of some Muslim gang rapists, and he asked them what he thought about their conviction. But he kept saying it one, and of course they swore at him, called him names, called his mother, his wife, and so forth. So but he got arrested for that. They tried to say disturbing the peace, and they kept changing to China. They went to prison, was in prison for 10 months in solitary confinement because there is safety, where he didn't eat the regular food because they said they being the prisoners working in there, many of which were Muslim for raping and other crimes, said that they were going to put stuff in his food. He had to close his window because when people walked by the window, they were throwing human feces in the window, and it was hot, no air conditioning, of course, and so he was in there 23 and a half hours a day. He would go out to the cafeteria. They only would allow him, I think it's $2 or maybe it's £2 that he could use to buy food, and he bought a can of tuna and crackers, and that's what he ate for 10 months or 10 weeks. Was it 10 weeks or 10 months? 10 weeks. In solitary confinement. They had appeals that were going on because he didn't get a chance to talk to his lawyer. He got appointed a lawyer. They came up with some kind of a plea bargain, which wasn't in good faith. They ended up putting him in prison. So eventually he got a new hearing. They gave the what our equivalent of Supreme Court 3-judge panel gave him a hearing. The head judge was in there. They said that it was wrongly convicted on it and threw it out. Now, he didn't turn him loose. I mean, he got turned loose, but it was thrown out. It wasn't done. It wasn't like you're done and you're free to go now. So they turn him loose and they retry him. Well, what just happened was he was found guilty on all counts, made up 2 counts, mind you, causing harm and distress to the Muslim rapist convicted guy. He gave distress. He gave distress while asking him, and he was the filming of him. Filming of wasn't supposed to film it, even though it wasn't posted. You're supposed to magically know that you couldn't film. Meanwhile, the press pressed Tommy worse than he pressed him with cameras and questions and making comments. It was obviously railroaded. I gave a real brief thing. You can look at those links. I'll put them underneath if you want to go through it. He was railroaded. So he's got 10 months in prison, but because of the rule of good behavior, provided, I guess, he could actually be credited with good behavior, it's going to be half that. So it comes out to be like 9.5 weeks. He will be in prison, and if he survives it. And so it's definitely a message to the citizen journalist out there to know, do not do this. Don't go against the system. I mean, obviously, England is hugely worse than us in terms of, well, believe me, the U.S. is catching up with the way that they're allowing Antifa to go around punching people in the face and then arresting anybody who even looks like it. So on the Trump side, Trump supporter side, or whoever is protesting, the non-Antifa side. So I wanted to mention that there are videos. Now, his videos, by the way, are being stopped. So if you play his video, you will you're risking getting your channel banned. Now, this is what I've heard. Now, I've played Tommy Robinson video stuff here, I'll give you this is what happens when you want to watch a Tommy Robinson video because it's so horrible. This following content's been identified by YouTube community as inappropriate or offensive to some audiences. Yeah, it's offensive to rapist gangs. That's what it's offensive to.
So I'm in prison for the crime of journalism, for exposing Muslim paedophile rapists. British journalists don't seem bothered about this at all. They are puppets of corporate globalist media. In fact, they're not even journalists. They're activists. They want to control the narrative and in effect, they want to influence public opinion. Your opinion. Anyone that challenges that control over public opinion is a threat. They're a danger. I'm a threat to the British political establishment. They haven't invested a lot of time and effort to sweep Muslim paedophile grooming gangs under the carpet.
All right, I'm going to stop it there, and I'll provide the links. You'll have to click through, though, because we wouldn't want to have you have this stuff get out. And, the funny thing is I've posted stuff before with Tommy Robinson, and I've had people, oh, Tommy Robinson, he's an ego thug or whatever. It's like, look, I've went through this before with Alex Jones, even Donald Trump. If you're going to break through the system, you have to be some kind of a warrior. You're going to be rough around the edges. You're going to have an ego. You're going to have, and we're all sinners, so we're all going to have problems. So, yeah, you can go and pick out anybody and point out their shortcomings. And I have in the past, and I admit that. I mean, they should admit as well their own problems. But this is what happens when you have warriors who are fighting against an oppressive system. If it was not oppressive, it was a matter of just giving a show of hands or making some kind of logical argument and have it be accepted. Well, you wouldn't have to go through the fight, the physical, emotional. Look at what they're doing to Donald Trump, the president, and how they're attacking him in politics. And Lord knows, only Lord knows why he's not been attacked physically at this point. You can guess, but I don't know. But anyway, instead of being picky on this, get off your ass and go out there and then do it right, so to speak. Show them how they could do it. Now, I'm doing what I can to do that amongst myself with my own ideas and my own abilities. I'm limited financially and time-wise. I can do these videos. You pass them around. There's other people doing this stuff and better. So it's like if you're going to criticize these people, then do better. Don't just sit there and it reminds me of sitting like a quarterback, watching a football game. Oh, they should have ran this play. They should have done this and all that. Come on. You have to get yourself into the NFL, quality, or whatever it is, whatever team you want. You have to get to the pro quality to be even picked and then maintain that to be on the field to even do anything. Or if you're a coach, you got to be. And that's where all of us fail. We'd never get that far. You have to remember that when it comes to Donald Trump and Tommy Robinson, Alex Jones, you have to get to where they are to have it. Now, I would do things differently than perhaps all three of them. I don't know. But I am not going to nitpick on it and say, well, because we're in a war. This is a big deal war. This is spiritual war tearing us apart. This is physical war in many times, many places. And it's, it looks to me only get worse. It's a mental war, an emotional war. Nobody's unscathed. And if you think you're unscathed, that means you've already logged in with the dark side, and you're just, when you become a liability, it'll be your turn. So anyway, let me go back. Tommy Robinson, I got a bunch of links on him. I'll put them underneath this once I get done on there. Twitter was down for a while. I'm assuming they're putting in their oppression, suppression, censorship stuff. So Trump held the social media. This was great. I wonder if I could play this other. I'll put the links. I don't want to step on other people's stuff, but he had a social media summit and he put people like Veritas Project. Of course, now I'm seeing his face, so I can't think of his name because I have some kind of a weird deal. What happened here now? That's some kind of a weird deal where, now, see that? I went to look at it because something was wrong on the system, and now I lost what I was saying. Project Veritas, James O'Keefe. See, it took a while, but I get the picture out of my head, and I can say it. They took those people, and they put them up in front and had the mainstream media backgated behind. And boy, were they pissed off. Talk about egos. You want to talk about scumbag egos. Mainstream media a lot of them are just terrible. I watch them. I watch the clips. What I try to do now is I watch Tucker, which to me he seems to be the best thing out there on the. I consider Fox mainstream. I don't know. He'll play the clips of these people. That's all I could take. It's just these little clips because I can't stand the absolute lying and manipulation. I see it. It's like if somebody came and was, shooting you with electricity or squirting you with water or something. They had a water gun, and they're shooting you while you're talking to them. That's how it bothers me. The crap. Anyway, he held the summit. He put those people in front. He had James O'Keefe stand up, commend him in public, worldwide coverage. That was very good. It really probably helped a lot of the bruise and all that had happened. But the mainstream was pretty pissed. There's a picture. The one of the channels I do like is Headlines with a Voice. I'm not always 100% with it. Of course, that's everybody. But it's pretty good. And she talks through this, but there's a little clip they do show of this guy getting so he yelled out. Get this. This is the people who don't believe like the Satan's involved here. Okay, this guy, mainstream reporter, yells out to the independent media that got this special treatment. He yells out to them that you guys are just looking for demon possession. What? Where does that come from? Well, it comes from demon possession. So this is a real deal going on here. This is a real fight for life. Something's wrong with this here. Still doing it. All right. Okay. There were some problems, apparently. I don't know. But, so anyway, this is this guy. This guy, you wait to see the video. I'll post this stuff. He was not happy that he gets set back. Now, this is great. This is Mark Dice. He put a video out. I didn't even know it was him until I saw it on the bottom. But this is what I wanted the RNC to do, or Trump. I mean, I'm not a big Republican fan because a lot of the look what happened with when Trump got elected out. Never Trump and all that crap. But what they just did is this Dice went back and got the videos of all these people saying the exact things Trump was saying for immigration. Exact things. Word for word. These guys were saying them. And I don't know. I don't want to. Yeah, see, we're going to get commercials and all that. I'll just put the link in there so you can see it. It is fabulous, and all RNC has to do is just play this stuff. If Trump was getting, if he could do this, that probably won't let him. If he could do this, he goes on national TV and in debates, and they talk about immigration. He just starts playing these clips. This is back and doesn't say anything. He's like, well, how come? How come you said it then? How come you guys over by there, were that way that time, and now it's not? So what a great clip, great video. And I'll put the links for that on there. There's a lot of stuff. Oh, well, my screen's a little off here. Let me redo this. I don't know what happened. Maybe I'll try to do this, see if this will work. It did. All right. There's a whole hoopla about the women's soccer winning the world champion twice in a row. Hey, that's great, I mean, to me, sports teams winning are good for the sports teams. It doesn't do me anything. Oh, and the United States soccer team won. The Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl one time, a long time ago. I never get excited about that stuff. It's not me. I'm not identifying with the fans act like we won. We did? Did you get out there and get a pass? kick a goal or whatever. Anyway, big hoopla about them getting the same pay as the men's team. And of course, the politicians just go along with this. That just shows how stupid they are. And I put a post, Captain's Obvious says, in sports, TVs, movies, etc., equal pay for equal revenue, i.e. viewership, readership, advertising dollars, attendance, ticket sales, etc. If you want to blame somebody for income inequality, blame those who consume the products. The girls get paid less, not because they're girls. It's the ladies, it's because less people watch it. The commercials pay less, and there's less revenue in it, in the system. It's not like, well, these are women here. We could just pay them a lot less, keep the rest ourselves. You can just look at the revenue done it. This is the dumb stuff. I see this stuff, and I go, look, there's people who are way sharper than me, right? I am not the sharpest tool in the box, okay? When I see this stuff, as I can't believe how unsharp some of those tools are. I mean, if someone say, how come the women don't make the same? Well, it's because there's not enough revenue. That's not as popular. People don't watch women's sports as much as men's, and there's less revenue to go around. I'm like, okay. Now, if you want them to have the same kind of pay, they have to raise the amount of awareness. People have to tune it in. Now, freedom of speech, for example, I always say, you're free to have freedom of speech, but I'm also free to not listen. Just having freedom, so it's not like you have to do this. This is where a centralized government comes in. This is why they're all on board with the social communist system, the neo-Bolshevism and all this stuff, neo-Maoist, is because they can make it that way. They can take the men's revenue and pay more to the women. Now, if they wanted to do that, that's fine. They could do that. But to have some kind of, hey, well, all it is to get votes. It's disgusting. It's pandering beyond belief. And I mean, that's one thing when you get to be older. I'm 62, right? Is that I've seen many years of this stuff. And to see this stuff happening is amazing to me. It's utterly amazing to me that this extreme knuckleheadness this is going on. So anyway, that's a little brief thing about that. I'm trying to post some nice things too. I like the Messiah, and there's a particular singer, Thomas. Oh, I can't think of his name now. Thomas. Anyway, it does the bear. I put that in there. And most people probably don't care about it, but all right, let's scroll down, and we'll get to. Well, let me do this. Microsoft has a new agreement. Windows, anything, Office. Code of conduct is added to their agreement. Oh, I gotta write this down. By agreeing to these terms, you agreeing that when using these services, anything Microsoft does, you agree to these terms, and you don't do anything illegal. You don't engage in activities that exploit, harm, or threaten or harm children. Okay. Don't send spam. But when we get down here, where is it now? Here we go. Don't engage in activities harmful to you, the service or others, e.g., transmitting viruses, stalking, posting terrorist or violent extreme content, communicating hate speech, or advocating violence against others. Hate speech. There's the bingo. What's hate speech? I don't like those guys. That's hate speech. So now any Windows product can be revoked. So let me just throw a scenario out there. You're putting out a blog. You're putting out some product. I'm doing this podcast, whatever you're doing, if you're watching a video or not. At this point, I'm using Windows 7 because of the software that I bought to work with it, as opposed to going on. Yes, I know. Ray is going to write me and say, again, go to Linux, which I would do if I had the time, believe me. I would have done it a long time ago. In fact, I looked into it a long time ago, except by then it was real hard then because there was no hardware. And no, you had to go back to command line stuff, which I did back in the day, wrote machine code for Commodore, Timmy Sinclair. When I got into the Microsoft world and the Mac world, I just went along to program at that point. Anyway, so now if they decided that what I'm saying is hate speech, they could shut off my Windows 7 because it's registered now. Any program, Windows 7, 9, 10, whatever, you have to log in. They register. They can shut off your Windows program, and then you're done because you're spreading hate, whatever they consider hate is. Even though Supreme Court had ruled in the 1970s against real Nazis, neo-Nazis with the salute, the armband, the brown shirts. They're proud about being white supremacists, the whole 9 yards, right? They had the right to march in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood, many of which those people had family or themselves were dealt with in Germany. And these group, they were knuckleheads, and they were insensitive, dumb for doing this, but they had a right to do it. And the Supreme Court said the right of unpopular speech is more important even in the free speech scenario. Supreme Court, but when it comes to private property and the use of Windows is a license that can be revoked, that you have to do what they want. If you don't like what they do, you're done. And hate speech is this catch-all that's there. I know I just said nothing new. People notice, but I just thought I'd point it out now that when you use Microsoft product, this is the deal. Then James O'Keefe going to the Trump Law's environmental progress ahead of clean air report. That's another important thing. Everybody talks about the Paris Accord. The world's going to end in 10, 12 years, I think is the newest thing, if we don't get the environment together. And the U.S. pulled out of the Paris Accord. Here's some interesting things. The U.S. numbers of CO2, even though it's not a poison, all right, are lower and are falling than any other country, and they're not in the accord. Well, CO2 is not a problem. I mean, another studies showed that more CO2 in the air, more green in the air, more green on the ground. More green on the ground, more oxygen in the air, less CO2 in the air. It's a system, right? Another showed that the actual contributing of humans to the heating is like 1/100th of a degree centigrade. Come on. So the problem when you go to China and India is they're polluting hugely more than the United States, and they have no caps for 30 years, according to the Paris Accord. And at that point, they can revisit their participation in it. Meanwhile, the U.S. has to get rid of all, coal industries and all this stuff. So, again, this is the reality of it. All right, Lionel Parkinson has been on the show. You can look up in the archives for his name. He is declared a while back, a couple years ago. In fact, his predictions haven't come yet, and it took longer than he thought, and he's still shaking his head like, I don't know what, there's fumes driving the banking system. Criminals, I guess, driving the banking system. But Deutsche Bank is the canary in the coal mine for our next banking collapse. And Deutsche Bank just got rid of, 1,800 people? I think 18,000 are planned. I think I misread when I said 1,800 before. And they're also not involved in certain financial programs anymore. And their stock went up. And it went down to $6 from 140 high, and now it's rebounded or something like that. It was 5-something, I think, and it rebounded a little bit. So, I mean, again, we're running on fumes. Deutsche Bank is the coal, and that's why, Lionel Parkinson, and you can watch his stuff. Take money out of the bank. Keep, the way he put it, 80% cash, 20% non-cash. Now, if you want to go crypto and take a chance with that, but, you're going to need, the point that Lionel says it, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. I'm so tired of talking about it over again. It's just a simple thing. When the credit cards and banking cards are turned off, how are you going to buy milk? You're going to go in there with Bitcoins to Walmart and buy milk? Some places have Bitcoins to dollars, but what if there's no dollars in that machine? Okay. Are you going to go in there with gold to buy milk? You walk in with a $25 gold piece. If they accept it, they'll give you $25 credit for it, which is obviously it's more. It's over $1,000. I think it's an ounce of gold, isn't it? I'm not sure. So what will work is the paper dollar, the physical paper dollar. It's short term. It'll get you through the first few weeks until they come up with something, which is why now they are keeping track of people who take out dollars. It's hard to get them because the actual physical dollar, people say, Weimar Republic, it's going to get hyperinflation. No, it's not, because all the inflation, if you want to call it, in digital dollars, zeros and ones, when that shuts off, you don't have access to that. And the actual physical print dollars, they're not printing dollars. They're not printing them in wheelbarrows like you see in Venezuela, back in Weimar Republic, Germany. They're not printing that many dollars. The dollars are rare. The actual dollars are rare. So if you want to be able to buy things in the early days of the crash, the only thing you can do, other than barter, again, you're going to go into Walmart or your local supermarket, and what are you going to barter? What are you going to do? I got a hammer. Can I get some milk? You know, that's why all he's saying, and he gets a lot of slack. I get slack. And I'm going, look, it's all we're saying is if you're in a area which is common doing commerce with gold or crypto, you can do that. But I know of none. I know you can go to the local guy who sells gold and say, well, I want to sell my gold. Well, at that point, the cash is the premium. So now when you go to sell your gold to get cash to go to Walmart and buy milk, the price is going to go, down because of demand. Now cash is in demand for short-term buying. Gold goes down, he buys gold. Now, what Milano's saying, keep the cash. You can buy stuff because things will be available very cheap because no one's going to have anything. So you can buy stuff at a good deal with the cash. The cash is actually going to raise in value in the short term, even though it's just paper, even though it's just numbers. I got it. It's a Federal Reserve dollar. I know that. It's still legal and it's accepted, and the other stuff's turned off at the moment. That's it. So only because it's mandated and legal. That's the only reason why it's worth anything. And now you can go buy stuff. You could even turn around and buy gold. You can sell, other people could sell gold to you, and you can give them cash at a lower price. You know what I mean? When you have the dollars stacked up in there, that's what he's saying. Watch Deutsche Bank, when they close up, that's the big one. And by then, you might not have a choice of it. So, let me go up to here for a minute. I got some windows open here, and I don't know why. So rather than, okay, got to turn this off. Oh, yeah. Okay. Just for the heck of it. I want to, just for fun. People probably could care less. Maybe not. Maybe they do. I had a lot of trouble with my electronics. And this weekend, I'm happy to say, this is my equalizer that I use on my little tube system, my desktop near field system. It was making all kinds of like crunchy, like it's just sitting there, not touching knobs. It was like the rainstorm and everything like that. I went on Facebook. See, this is why this stuff is good. Went to an audio group on Facebook. I explained the thing. Guy says, hey, it's probably, bad connectors, And it's true. When I would turn it on and off, I'd hear crunching. But I didn't know what caused the rain, kind of like a hissing in a rainstorm and a little thunder. Took it apart, cleaned it up with CRC. Oh, I got it still here. I got some of my tools still here. Cleaned it up with CRC, right? Then I put in, I don't think I have no, I put it away already. Put in a little deoxit shield, which is a lubricant / it helps connections. I put it in there, worked fine. Yay! You don't have to throw it out or send it for repairs, which I couldn't afford anyway. But that was one good thing. Second good thing, boom. This is my preamp power amp processor by Emotiva, the UMC 200. Got it used, got a deal on it, but it's an expensive unit, and it does the whole thing, the surround sound, the whole 9 yards. Right over here, the power supply. You could see right here, if you could see the arrow, those two capacitors. I did, again, research on the internet, went to boards, found out other people did this, got a release from the company who said what capacitors to get, what to change. I put in those two. I upgraded this capacitor to a larger one like they suggested, replaced this one. Boom, it works. To replace this unit with another used unit of a comparable thing, Outlaw Audio 975 or Marantz, the AV 7004 or the 7704, $500. To buy the new version of this with credit for the old one, sending it in, another, again, over $500. So I saved that today. And the stuff I just got done, I had Star Wars playing in the background while I was cleaning up my desk and resetting things up. It sounded better than ever. So apparently this problem has been creeping up on the power. So there we go. I thought that's a little personal, a little fun thing that happened. Positive thing. Okay, he'll be murdered in prison, less visible. Okay, I got to that. Let me go to the other page that I use. Of course, this is going to be the admin side, too, so I don't know how it's going to line up. I may have to. Yeah, let me, little inside baseball here. Let me do this. All right, I'm going to. Boom, 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 boom. I just screen captured this thing. I do have a problem with this Windows thing. I'm still going to have to, reinstall it because some of the stuff doesn't work, but I got to go. Okay. Yeah, I'll just talk about people. They're coming out and ICE is going to start removing illegal aliens. And there's a big hoopla about it. Illegal aliens. It's illegal because you crossed the border illegally. You're a legal alien. It's illegal. Okay. Now, the argument is that shouldn't be illegal. So it'd be like if somebody it was against the law to blow balloons and you blew up a balloon, there shouldn't be a law for that. It's not. But it is illegal until the laws change. All right. So here's a woman. Now, this could be totally fictitious in this presentation. It's irrelevant because it's true somewhere. Somebody's in jail. Somebody lost custody of their kids and they're separated from them. All right, so don't say, well, this is a fraud. Is there anybody in jail and did they have kids? Okay, since there are millions of people in jail, kids are placed in foster care until they get out. This happens to Americans every day. Nothing is said, but illegal aliens, they say it. Now, I'm going to say something that's not rocket science here. And if you don't already know this to ad nauseum, well, listen. The only reason that these people care about the illegal aliens has nothing to do with their care, excuse me, with their plight. When I do my glass of water. Has nothing to do with their plight. It's because they're looking at them as future voters. Here's the plan. Bring in the aliens. Give them citizenship or the right to vote. They all vote for the people who brought them in. Get rid of the Electoral College. With one election, they have all Democrats in majority, president, and in the Congress. And then in 20 minutes, they pass a bunch of laws revoking the First Amendment, Second Amendment, whatever, all that stuff. That's the plan. That's it. That's the plan. They don't care about them. I remember, I told you there's other videos that they had all saying about how they shouldn't come in like, normal. When they lost, when Trump won, they realized that they lost. They have an undependable amount of Americans here who vote for him. And the only reason they're doing this is to gain new votes. I mean, if all these illegal aliens wanted to vote Republican, they wouldn't be doing this at all. This is so freaking obvious that it's like I bang my head against the wall when someone starts to give any kind of argument that, oh, it's humanitarian, it's all this. Because all of this stuff with the kids in cages all happened with Obama and before. This is nothing new. You have to separate them to find out what they are. So a lot of them are trafficked. A lot of them are kidnapped. They have to go through this kind of thing. They came, if they didn't come on the border, they wouldn't be in cages. All right? And they're not cages. That's another thing. They say cages. They're not cages. It's not. When you say cage, I think of a little dog cage thing that you're stuffing kids in these kennels, right? All it is high galvanized fence. So do you have a fence around your yard? Do you let your kids play in your yard in the fence? You put him in a cage. All right, so getting all animated. But I'm tired of this. I got no patience for this stuff anymore. I have zero patience. I don't know if it comes with age or you're just getting beat up and tired of this crap. Both. All right, let me go back to the page. So I shared that. Yeah, how the left wins arguments. All they do is name. Any discussion will be addressed from an emotional perspective. Now, I'm not saying emotions are bad. All right, emotions, if you look at it in a psychological type of view, emotions, they call it your child within. And your adult allows the child a safe way to play. So your emotional self inside wants to play. Your adult logical self, the part that learns and realizes that the problems, will then guide you to allow your child to come out and play. Case in point, you find a proper person, you marry them, you're, what's the word? You have only relations with them, you develop a loving sexual relationship with them, and your child can play within the confines of the adult, playground, if you will. And it goes for anything. It's like if somebody wants to go, I'm going to go parachute. You're going to take a bed sheet and jump off a building and parachute? That's the child. I remember as a kid, when this is in '68, so I was 11. We had or 67, so I was 10. There's a big snowstorm in Chicago, and I was on a third-story apartment. It was had a big wooden porch in the back. And I remember looking over at the ground and seeing 3 feet of snow and thinking, I want to jump off and land in the snow. Now, I don't know. Maybe that was stupid for 10 even, but I didn't. Because I said, no, I can't be sure. What if I hurt myself and all that? And I didn't. All right. Now, that's an example of the child wanting to do so. I want to jump in the snow. And then whatever forming adult part of me said, no, don't do that. Now look at that out in the world. People are wanting to do stuff, and they're not, let me climb a mountain. Now, it takes an effort to climb the mountain. But when there's a line going up the mountain, and it's freezing at night, and you see this, and you go anyway, well, anyway, that's the deal. That's why it's emotionally based. They're never going to have logical arguments. Every argument is emotional. Wow, look at the kids in the cages. Emotional. The logical is, well, are they in cages? Well, no, actually, it's fenced-in areas. Why are they fenced? Oh, for their own protection, because they have to find out what they, if they're really, was really their parents, or were they trafficking because they find so many traffickers and so forth. That's the adult part talking. And it's not that you want to, you're not thrown in a cage and they got to stand there. They got bedding to sleep on. It's like it'd be like in a tent, only it's safer. All right, I guess we can get into Epstein now. Oh, wait, let me do this first. ICE protesters take down the American flag and replace it with the Mexican flag. And that's okay. All right, we'll leave it there. That's okay. Look at this knucklehead. Run for president. Look at the kid's face. Look at that. Come on. All right, come on. You're going to tell me that these elite guys are not doing all this stuff with the child trafficking? Yeah, I just gave this speech now, so I'm not even going to go through it. Oh, no, it's actually a little different. The goal is to destroy and demoralize the America that elected Trump. Number one, brand Trump and his voters racist and dumb. Number two, destroy Christianity, family with transgender and perversion as normal, even inspiring. 3, open borders, illegal aliens vote, low-wage workers to bury the middle class. 4, end electoral college to center the elections on the urban areas, which they now already control. 5, erase, rewrite the past for their own purposes. 6, the ruling class and the working poor class, modern-day serfdom is all that's left. There it is. You want to know the plan? There's the plan. Okay, I guess we're going to get into Epstein now. This is something... Yeah. Passed all 2 terms. Yeah, okay. So let's get to Epstein. Right? I'm not going to throw you a lot of links and all that, because this has been all over the place. Unless you're under a rock, you've heard about this stuff. But here's my take on it that I take very seriously and I'm very upset with. I understand everyone's talking about, speaking of the plan, they're talking about Q. They're talking about how this is they're all going to be arrested and all their pedophiles are going to be, and it's possible, and I hope it is. All right, believe me. Oh, it looks like I got jaundice. It's my other lights that I use that aren't for optic. There, see, I'm not jaundice. It's the. So what is the thing. I actually found a video, and I'll try to find it. It was very black-pilled. Black-pilled, I guess, is the video. He said a lot of stuff I thought. So, the things that bother me is that this court case, which Cernovich and others were in, opening up these files. Now, there's a story behind it. It's technically not opening his files. It's another lawsuit from a victim. So actually, you're suing the victim to get these files opened. But so there's a ruling in the case, and the judge gives, I don't know, it was a week, 5 days, whatever, for 2 other people in this, unnamed. They may appeal the decision because their name will come out in this process. And I'm assuming they're maybe on victims. I mean, they didn't say they were the bad guys, per se. So now the information is not out. And 3 days later, Epstein flies in from Europe and is arrested. They go to his house, they search warrant, they go through his house, and they confiscate all this evidence. So that's great, huh? Well, it's really weird that first off, he flies home and he do this 3 days after his case is open. You would think that if he would stay away, if anything else. Here's my take on it, and I hope I am wrong, and I'm sorry if I'm cynical. I'm sorry if I'm negative. Because right now, click, click, click. I can hear all the clicks going. But here's what I'm afraid of happening. I don't want it to happen. I would like the good guys to win, okay? But here's what I'm worried about. Epstein knew he was going to be arrested. He came home. It was all arranged. It was prearranged so that they would go in on the premise of getting all the information. They go through his safe. He tells them where all the secret little blackmail stuff is. They go take it all. And now remember, it's the same FBI that whitewashed Hillary Clinton. Okay. The U.S. Attorney is James Comey's daughter. Now, maybe she's not like that. Okay. It doesn't mean that because she's a daughter, it doesn't mean that, right? But they're going to go through, take out all of the damning stuff on the friends of the deep state / the Bolsheviks, the neo-Maoists that are trying to make a new Soviet Union here, the American Union Soviet style. or a Soviet Union American style, right here. They're going through and scrub all of the people they want to save and then look to see maybe there's something on Trump, maybe there's something on prominent Republican leaders, prominent Republican or conservative news people, whatever. They're going to go through, scrub all the stuff, Clinton and all the other people, even Epstein, keep the stuff that he doesn't. He gives states evidence, he gets some kind of a deal. We can talk about the deal, whatever it could be. And all this stuff has been put out in the media. Remember now, the media has been talking about collusion, which didn't exist, and obstruction, which doesn't exist, for 2 years now, constantly. All right, so you're going to say to me, well, they're not going to have much evidence. They don't even need any evidence. They're already saying, I'm already posted news articles about them saying Trump was a friend of his. And so according to this page here, there's screenshots. Wikipedia altered Epstein's bio already. The first screenshot was Epstein's bio at 8:27. The second was at 10:30, omitting Bill Clinton and Spacey, yet leaving Trump. This is all after I came up with my little insight, if you want. It just shows what they're doing. They're positioning themselves. Now, why didn't they mention this stuff back when Trump was running? Well, because it's, you have a lot of their guys would be involved in this, and they didn't want that. So they thought they can win without that. Well, now the collusion failed, the obstruction failed. He's gaining momentum. The minorities are supporting him more. Everything's going up, right? The economy's doing well on paper, anyway. So it's good for running, and so they're desperate. So now they're going to say they went to Epstein. Look, we're going to have to do this. You're going to have to come in and take one for the team. We'll try to make it as easy as possible. And you did it. You're a scumbag and you did it. So don't. And I know other people did it. So for the greater of this country, to save it from Donald Trump, gosh, they're going to go with probably the worst pedophile trafficker there is. I'm sure it might be worse in Thailand or some other area, Libya. Now that they got rid of Muammar, and they're going to take and have Trump try to nail Trump in particular, and anybody else they can find in that little treasure trove. Remember, they still have this laptop from Wiener. Nothing's come out. They've had plenty of people who were in the New York Police Department talk about how disgusting it was and how much junk is on there. And maybe it's all about timing. Maybe they're going to go and do a big sweep. They're going to do all this stuff, get it all together, and arrest them all. Oh, man. I will be weeping in my knees, praising God, thanking God. Believe me, I don't like to come up with this stuff. It doesn't please me to find out the negative angle. Ooh, how can I go against what everybody's all getting excited about? Hey, what can I do to go against them? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that really bad. Well, I just noticed it was adjusted wrong. I don't want to do it really bad. But tell me I'm wrong. How? You have past practices of the whole Hillary thing, all this stuff. And all we have is guys like Q talking about how this is going to happen. And then all we do is hoping that in a system that's so disgustingly corrupt for so long, so depraved, to have institutional trafficking. Remember the $62,000 of hot dogs for Obama in the emails. But that's the emails. So disgustingly terrible that all of a sudden there's going to be enough good guys. Now, maybe. Again, I think God's spirit is moving on the planet, but what is the prescription, in my opinion, is to reveal and make a choice. We have three things going on. Revelation, revealing. The second thing would be to make a stand, make a choice. You could change. And three would be redemption, going out and fighting the fight. So if you were an inside trader, you find Jesus, you get God, and then you turn state's evidence, and then you fight. It may cost your life. You may get killed in prison. But you're talking about your soul here. We're talking about kids. The most, true religion, in the words of James, is to take care of women's and orphans, and don't be stained by the world. Now, trafficking children, pretty staining, not taking care of them, most of which are orphans. I want this bad, all right? I'm sick day after day of this stuff happening. It bothers me. I got other stuff going on in my life, too, which adds pressure, but I think about this stuff all the time. What they're getting away with. I would want to see a giant, flare come at the earth to wipe us out, to get rid of this, instead of having it continue. Now, I know, I'm talking about people dying. I'm dying too, right? But this is so bad, it can't become worldwide institution, because if it did, it's going to happen anyway. You're going to hit by an asteroid or something. Right now, we're in a position, I think, a window of discovery, revelation. Now, what are you going to do about it? And then comes the battle, let's say, whether it be legal, physical, whatever, all of it, emotional, spiritual, all of them. So I think Epstein is could be this whole idea of what they're going to do. I see you got Margie in the chat room. Hi, Margie. Let's see what's going on over here. Sorry, I'm not doing this stuff here, but, you witnessed me. Why is this censored? All right, somebody's doing something. I guess I had somebody in there. Something was going on in there. As much of members been erased, so apparently some idiot was in there. I can't do anything about this. Oh, I guess I can. I guess it's automatically. Oh, Aces. All right, Aces in there in the chat room. I don't know what's going on in there. Maybe we could talk later. I got to set it up, I guess, for people to do something about. So, okay, I can't pay attention to these chat rooms because I'm doing the show and I'm not getting any younger. It's getting obvious to me. It's becoming more. Of course, I got all these hassles. I mean, I didn't even talk about all the stuff. I talked about the good things that happened. I had a million things I had to do to get it even going for today. I'm still running on this Windows system, which is limping along. So, but this is something we all. I mean, whether you're a Republican, Democrat. I mean, in the old days, the Republican, Democrat, not the. There's a lot of Democrats who aren't Democrats anymore because they're not crazy, right? Whether you're atheist, Christian, Jew, Muslim, whether you're a scientist with a high IQ or you're just a regular guy or whatever, you're all going to agree on you can't traffic kids for sex. I mean, it's like the bottom basic line, like turtles would know this, amoeba. I mean, this is the bottom line basic stuff. And in the past, people did it knowing it was wrong and hid it. But now we're walking out into the open and being proud about it. The mental illness, which is masquerading in transgender or whatever, turning into animals, trans knucklehead. Have an abortion where the kids might live and you throw them in a bucket. I mean, what the hell's going on here? I mean, you don't have to be a Christian or an atheist, or, you could be an atheist. You don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to be a Republican, Democrat. You don't have to be American. You just got to be a human to see this. This is not good. So, yeah, if only I had a producer. Amen. Amen. Well, I did try a while back. I was syndicated on a satellite, being syndicated on AM radio, and tried to go that route, and the syndication, that company, radio station, IBC Radio Network, fell apart. And so that put me on my own deal here. And, I would love to be able to do this for a living. I can do it a lot better than I am now, scraping together on the weekends with all the crap I got going on with work. So, I don't know. I think I'm at a stopping point here. I feel like I still forgot something, but I don't really have adequate, let me see any, I got to figure out something in the chat room for people, because they got to be protected. I don't know what this knucklehead was saying. I'm going to see what I can find out. I mean, I'm the guy running it, so, I mean, I should be able to do something about it, but I have to pay attention. All right, I guess that's going to be it for now. I do have, I'd like to talk to Candace Owens. I don't think I'm big enough to be able to get her to talk, but I like her because she reminds me of Malcolm X a bit. Malcolm X, pretty sharp, pretty smart, but, man, brutal in your face, telling it straight as it is, and she reminds me of that. That's meant as a compliment. I looked back, because I was pretty young at the time, all right, but I've looked back at his stuff out there and amazed at the stuff he said. Of course, I was, again, too young, not paying attention, but I'm amazed at how he saw right through it. And so I'd like to be able to talk with her. I'm also, just for the heck of it, I'm going to see if I can get some old musicians from the old days. They might be more open to, even though it won't be a big political, spiritual thing, it'll be nice. So I'm going to try and do some of that. I did have John Kay on from Steppenwolf years back, but that was politically motivated. Ed Cassidy from Spirit, he passed away, but I did talk to him about a half hour. So, I mean, I had a couple, I had, I can't think of his name now, the guy who did the song Ebony Eyes. Used to be in Fleetwood Mac in the early days. So I can't think of his name now because I'm seeing him. I had him on talking about UFOs, and he has now passed away as well. So I'm going to try to hit some of these old rockers before they die. Let's see if I can get them on. I'm trying to read. I got I want to mention this too. I guess it's next week. A week from Tuesday, I think. Not good with the dates here. I got it written down. I'm going to be going in for eye surgery, and so perhaps I can request some prayers for that. Everything works out fine. The timing is going to be tight with my job and everything like that. It's supposed to be simple. It's a cataract surgery, and my sister and mother have had. Everybody I know has had them, and zippy doo dah. It's 10-minute surgery. You're in and out. Except one guy was off for like 6 weeks because his lens shattered or something. Very rare, right? But he was lucky enough to get that, or unlucky enough to get it. So, we'll see how that goes. But I need that to work out good. Otherwise, the whole house of cards blows away in the winds. So, that's coming up, and I'd like your prayers on that. Also, I did get a bunch of suggestions. I just have to get it together to try. I used to have like 3 guests a day. We had a 4-hour show every week. I had regular guests that do bits. I'd had the main guest. All this stuff was like zip, 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 zip. But, and of course, I lost a lot of my bumpers. I can't play the bumpers now on YouTube because back in the day it was the Wild West. You can play this stuff. Now it's like, oh, you can't play that song for 10 seconds. You can't. Oh, what's the matter with you? Oh my God, we're going to ban you worldwide. So, anyway, I think that's it. I'm going to stop rambling here. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Remember, we got to put out, I pray all the time that this crap gets cleaned up, whatever the cost, But one of the parts that I think we ought to realize is is that if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Now, that sounds like a real pat BS thing, but it's true. Just because you're not trafficking children doesn't mean that, there's some subtle way. So just make sure the businesses you support, make sure, when you try to vote for taxes and all this stuff, you got to make sure that this is done best you can. Make sure that your hands are clean, so the blood of these kids aren't on you. And it's a heavy heart, man. I tell you, just knowing it's going on, it's heavy. I mean, I'm feeling depressed. I feel like I'm carrying it, a part of it, just because it's going on, and I can't do nothing about it. But also remember, you only could do what you can do. So the way I look at is like wherever I am, and at that moment in time, whatever comes into my sphere is what I'm responsible for. And whatever you can do, you can do. And then that kind of lights up a little bit because it's a little more, I can do something about it. I can't change like the sun, all right? But I can put on the air or put a coat on if it's cold or something, So all right, I'm going to go, and we will see you next time. And where's the ending? Here it is. Boom.